Welcome back to the Canadian Gun Vault. We're going to be taking a closer look at one of my all-time favorite handgun designs. Bring it in for a second and just take a look at this. What we have here is a 1917 manufactured artillery Luger. And for those of you that have never seen one of these before, ordinarily Lugers are a prohibited item. Their barrel lengths are about 4 inches, which just falls short of the minimum length requirement for hand pistols, and pushes them into a class and category of pistol that ultimately is destroyed when the owners pass. However, there were other variations of this design made. Not the least famous is going to be the artillery Luger, otherwise known as the Luger Long or Lang. The P08 was the official designation for this particular gun. I love shooting it. It's got a really interesting design. I don't know if you can see this here, but this toggle action, if you take a look at it, every time this gun fires, you can't see it really in the videos, but this action comes straight upwards, bending in almost like a locomotive knee joint. And then under spring tension feeds the next round off the magazine and chambers it. I think we're going to have to take this over to 50. It's a little too easy to hit over here at 25, so let's take it over to 50. Got a little hang up. You know, with a 100-year-old gun like this, sometimes you get 100-year-old gun problems. Oops, I'm just going to knock that bullet out for a second, put this down here. Got to thank the owner of this pistol. A bit of an interesting history comes with it. Apparently this was found loaded in the nightstand of a World War I veteran somewhere in New Jersey, I believe it was, before the family took over possession of it. And then ultimately it was imported legitimately into Canada through the usual legal channels, and eventually ended up in the owner's hands. He's been kind enough to give us the use of this item for the day. He's offset right now. We're very grateful for the opportunity to shoot and handle such a great piece of firearm history like this. The locomotive joint, historically, is a derivative from the Borchardt pistol, which actually was produced about a decade earlier. And little known fact that Mr. Luger worked for Mr. Borchardt in his factory and may have liberally borrowed from some of the design cues here. Just ultimately, though, a terrifically well-made pistol, which is why it was no longer used. The tolerances on this pistol are so tight, and the idea that a more easily manufactured pistol that would have the ability to have a double action trigger grouping could be carried much more safely in combat. The idea that you would chamber around in this pistol and put the safety on would make it ideal for World War I combat the way it was intended. It was issued to machine gun crews, and it was issued with this stock, which, if you look at this, it's really interesting. It slides in on the back just like that, and then locks down into place. And then it was used in concert with a 32 round drum magazine, and then used as a carbine pistol. And this was meant to be like a last ditch line of defense for machine gun crews when their machine guns had jammed. And the thing that people don't know about these is how rare they actually are. These long-barreled versions of the gun were mostly collected and destroyed following the end of World War I. The Treaty of Versailles actually ended up resulting in the Germans no longer being allowed to have barrel lengths any longer than 4 inches, which is totally the opposite of what goes on in Canada. They saw how effective a longer barreled version of this gun could be. And we're going to definitely take this thing out to about 150 yards and see how it does, because again, even one-handed I'm hitting here at this range. So let's head over. I think I caught the edge on that last one. This is such a joy to shoot, and I mean, it's such a fantastic part of firearm history too. I mean, you look at what the Germans produced at the turn of the century. I mean, they really did over-engineer everything. The idea that they stamped every single part with a serial number is just unbelievable. And I mean, even the magazines, have wood bottoms on, that were very indicative of the time when, metal was in short supply. The idea that these things, were once upon a time rounded up and destroyed, it's inexcusable, now as it was then, in my opinion. Certainly times have changed and things are a little bit different, but I mean, these are bona fide collector's pieces. The idea that, that they wouldn't be saved in their shorter forms is ridiculous. This is about a $5,000 piece when combined with the stock and the magazine and the kit that it would have been issued with. And it's definitely a sought after item in the world of firearms. I managed to hit a few times out here at 150. You know what? I'm actually tempted even in this wind to try 200. So let's see what we can do. I'll hold a little lower. Oh, there's a piece of hot brass sitting on my back, I think. Well, it doesn't look like I'm going to have quite as much luck at 200. But I got to tell you, probably one of the finest firearms that I've ever had the pleasure of handling. Definitely, the design is solid. I mean, even 100 years later, this is the type of thing that I think anybody would enjoy and appreciate as a collector. I know that the owner of this item is terribly proud, and to get one in this condition and to track one down, it represents a real point of pride for him. So, you know what? We're glad to have brought something this special to you here at the Canadian Gun Vault. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, shoot straight, stay safe.